Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 Episode 12. As is the norm with all my videos, I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Welcome to yet another episode of Fear the Walking Dead that begins by referencing events that have taken place off screen between episodes. So June is now apparently a part of a resistance at the tower. When did that happen? We don't know because we're never shown it happening. And this episode begins with Howard and Strand throwing off these random red shirt resistance members from the top of the roof and throwing them to their deaths. What is going on? Who are these people? We don't know. Who structures their stories like this? It doesn't make any sense to me that fear, that things keep happening off screen. And then the next episode begins and the character's like, yes, you're part of this group. They're part of the resistance. What resistance? We didn't even see this. This is the first time we're hearing about the resistance. Why do events keep happening off screen only for them to be explained in the next episode by like a couple of lines of dialogue or by like a 5-second, a 5-minute scene? This is not how you structure stories. It's ridiculous. What makes me laugh is that the formation of a resistance apparently wasn't important enough for us to see happen, on screen. But what was important enough for us to see was a fucking episode about a random wanker catching butterflies. And we also just had to watch an episode about a dude playing the bagpipes. Why didn't they spend more time in the tower developing the characters as opposed to random fucking episodes about stupid side characters who die in the same episode? Well, what is going on? One of the most disappointing things about this season for me as a whole is that the tower as a location had real potential, as did Strand as a villain, but they've been given hardly any screen time. Apparently they're deemed not important enough to show. I just wish that this season was more like Season 3 of The Walking Dead, because once we were introduced to Woodbury in that season, which I think was the 3rd episode, Woodbury then became a mainstay of that season, and we kept going back to it, and that allowed the characters there to develop and allowed them to grow. It allowed us to learn about how things worked at Woodbury. We learnt about the culture there. But in contrast, this season of Fear the Walking Dead, I believe out of the 12 episodes that have aired, only 6 of them have included the tower. And in some of those episodes, the tower was only there for like 5 minutes. Can you imagine how much better this season would be if we went to the tower like nearly every episode and we learnt more about what's going on there, and we learnt about the people there, and we saw June interact with people and convince them to join the resistance, and we learnt more about the inner workings there. Instead, we don't know anything. It's just told to us by characters in throwaway lines of dialogue at the starts of episodes, because apparently it's more important to spend time with random side characters. I just don't understand why people would structure stories like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't understand it. But there you go, that rant aside, let's talk about the rest of the episode. So there's a resistance at the tower, apparently. And these resistance members, they all use walkie-talkies to talk to one another. And Howard and Strand are going through all their stuff and they're finding these walkies. And anyone who has a walkie, they're consigning to death because they believe they're part of the resistance because they've got a walkie in their possession, right? And I don't understand why the resistance aren't using more covert methods to talk to one another. Why are they not just, meeting in a secret location and talking face to face? Why are they not sending coded messages on paper which they then burn after they've got the message? Instead, they're just using walkies, which all of Strand's men use, which is just incredibly dumb because you can be heard over the walkie. Someone can just pick up on you hearing it. And also, you've got the walkie there as the evidence that you're part of this group. So why are they not using a different method of communication? Hi, resistance, checking in. How's it going? Oh shit, is that Strand's man on the other end? I'm joking. I'm not really part of the resistance. Please don't kill me. Like, why are you using such a dumb method to talk to one another? It's just ridiculous. These resistance members are fucking morons. But anyway, John Sr. plants a walkie-talkie in Howard's bed because he believes that if Strand thinks that Howard is a traitor, he will then turn to John for advice and for help, and he thinks he can twist Strand's ear and change him, which is just incredibly stupid and incredibly naive. Anyway, Baby Mo is missing, and Strand wants John Sr. to find Baby Mo, and it turns out June has taken Baby Mo. And the reason why June has taken Baby Mo is because she believes that she needs to get Baby Mo out of the tower, because whilst the baby is in the tower, Morgan won't attack the tower, so she's going to get the baby out of the tower. But this plan is just completely nonsensical and stupid, because even if she did get the baby out of the tower, what's to then just stop Strand, killing her and killing Grace and all her friends in retaliation? Getting rid of the baby accomplishes nothing. Your friends are still going to be in danger. They're going to be in more danger, in fact. What is the point? And June's grand plan to get this baby out of the tower is to put this baby in like an ammo box, just close the poor baby in a bloody box, and take it out via this exit, which is like a sewer, full of radioactive walkers. Take it away, Daryl. Let us all know what you think about this plan.
Oh yeah. It's good stuff.
Great plan, June. Nice one. John finds June in the sewers, and I really liked how, in this situation, they're surrounded by radioactive walkers, and the walkers stop on not once but 2 occasions, so these two can just stand there and have a chat, and John can just, tell us all his garbage dialogue about how he needs to build a legacy and I can change things, and the walkers just stand there. They just let them talk. Very, very considerate walkers. Very nice walkers, these ones are. If you hadn't already guessed, the dialogue in this episode is once again atrocious, and John Sr. is the worst offender in this episode. All his dialogue is just cliches, just talking in constant cliches and, oh, we can build something better, we can change things, I'm gonna build my legacy. Oh, just shut the fuck up, man. You're kidding me, just shut up. Strand arrives in the sewer, or whatever it is, this place where they're trying to exit the tower. And he sees Baby Mo, and then he takes Howard and John Sr. to the roof. And he basically wants to find out what's been going on, why the baby went missing, which one of them is lying to him. And it's at this point that John Sr. admits to planting a device in Howard's bed, because he doesn't want, Howard to take the fall and Howard to die for something that he didn't actually do, right? So you'd think in this situation, seeing as Howard has been nothing but loyal to Strand this entire time, that Strand would take him back with open arms, and he'd say, look, okay, I'm sorry I doubted you. Come back, to me, Howard, because Howard pretty much does everything that he asks of him, right? But no, instead Strand says to John Sr., you must really wanted to have an audience with me to frame Howard. Well done. And then he tells him to throw Howard off the roof, and then offers John Sr. the position as his partner. What the fuck? Why would he trust the man who framed his partner and then hire him as his partner? This is the stupidest thing that Strand could have done. Makes no fucking sense. What is going on? Howard is dead, so I guess he won't be sneaking up on anyone anymore. But anyway, the next day, John Sr. is kind of, feeling sorry for himself and drinking away his sorrows and trying to cope with what he's done. At which point, Strand enters his room to talk to him. And then John decides that he's going to take down Strand. So he pulls out a gun on Strand, and he's behind Strand. He could just shoot Strand, but instead of shooting him, he whacks him over the head with the gun and knocks him out. Again, Daryl, take it away, please.
It's good stuff.
Also, I loved how in this scene, after he knocks out Strand, he goes to his pocket, takes out his radio, his walkie-talkie, doesn't change the frequency, doesn't do anything. He just presses the button on the radio, on the walkie, and it goes straight through to Morgan. How does that make any sense? Does Strand have Morgan on speed dial? He just picks up a random radio and it goes straight through to Morgan. What is going on? This doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that John is dying from radiation poisoning in this episode, which he apparently got when he rescued Charlie in episode 10, which is again something that we didn't actually see happen on screen. We're just told about it. And we're supposed to accept it. And Charlie is also dying from radiation poisoning. But anyway, there you go. So what happens is that after Strand is knocked out, John Sr. takes the baby outside, and dresses himself up in like old-fashioned armor. He's got like a fucking pot on his head because he wants to get past these walkers. He actually, in this scene, he reminds me of the characters when they dress up in Zombie for Sale, when they put all their pots and pans on their heads because they think that's going to protect them from the zombies. Now, if you haven't watched that film, it's a Korean zombie comedy, and it's fucking brilliant. It's on Amazon Prime. Just watch it. If anything positive is going to come from this video, is going to come from Fear the Walking Dead, watch this film, because it's so much better than Fear the Walking Dead. Please, just watch it. But anyway, yeah, John is going to take the baby past these walkers to Morgan, who is waiting, by the telephone outside Strand's tower, right? Wendell says to John, why didn't you cover yourself in guts and get through the walkers and they won't be able to detect you, which, good shout, is a good plan, I would say. But then John Sr. says, nope, I haven't got time for that, and it's too dangerous for the baby. First of all, there was plenty of fucking time, because John Sr. then spends the next 5 minutes saying his goodbyes to all the characters, and he also has time to record a song with Grace. Yes, this really happens. I thought it was just some kind of weird dream sequence or something, but no, he actually records a song, a duet song with Grace, which he plays to the baby whilst he's walking through the walkers. So he had time to do that, but not time to cover himself in guts. Also, in regards to him saying that it's too dangerous to the baby, it's too dangerous to have guts on the baby. You know, I'm pretty sure that in the 6th season of The Walking Dead, when Alexandria was overrun by the walkers, Carl was holding Judith in and he was wearing a cloth which was over her, which was covered in guts. So there's no reason why they couldn't have done that again. Oh, it's too dangerous for the baby. What? And walking through 1,000 zombies who can detect you and who know you are human, apparently that isn't dangerous, is it? It's too dangerous to put guts on her, but yeah, I'll just walk through this army of zombies, this army of walkers. All the characters on this show are idiots! So John Sr. somehow powers his way through this group of walkers, which is absolutely absurd, absolute nonsense, because they all know he's a human, they can all smell him, and there's just so many walkers that it's just nonsense. I mean, you can't walk through this many walkers without them pushing you to the floor. And it's not even like John is running. He's just taking a casual stroll through these walkers and just pushing them away. There's no way these walkers wouldn't pin him to the ground. This is absolutely stupid. I mean, so much for the walkers being Strand's deterrent. You know, they're fucking useless. They just let an old man walk through them. I just can't believe what I'm watching anymore. John makes it through the herd successfully and gives over Baby Mo to Big Mo. And then he reveals he's been bitten, and I mean, he's already dying from radiation poisoning anyway, right? And he says to Morgan, I'm going to go and give you some time. And he just walks into the group of walkers and lets them eat him. Which makes no sense, because it wasn't even like the walkers were near Morgan. They were quite far away from Morgan. And I mean, you know, John was able just to walk through them. So I'm sure Morgan could just run away with the baby without them getting them. There was no reason for him to die like this. Yeah, I'm going to buy you time. You didn't need to buy him time. Morgan was already away. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. He just basically had the most. He just decided, yeah, I'm going to go in there and have a gruesome death. When, you know, he could have just asked Morgan to put him down, or he could have just gone back to the submarine and, you know, waited until he turned and, you know, had a bit of time with everyone, said his goodbyes. But instead, he's like, nope, I'm going to go buy you time by walking into these walkers who are a mile away from us and who aren't even a threat to us. What? So the episode ends with John dying. It ends with Wes becoming Strand's new partner. And Strand rounds up Grace and June and makes a threat to Morgan that, you know, you may have won the battle, but I'm going to win the war. And that's it, really. This episode's a fucking mess. This episode is a mess. I mean, I gave episode 11 the benefit of the doubt, because even though that episode was a mess as well, but at least that was somewhat enjoyable, and, you know, it featured characters that I liked, and yeah, that was okay. But this episode is just awful. It's just awful. I mean, yes, you could say, oh, it's more interesting than the episode about the dude with the butterfly and, you know, the dude with the bagpipes. But in terms of writing, it's no better. The writing is no better. I would say the writing is worse. I would argue this is a worse episode than those two episodes, just because all the characters are idiots. There's more characters, and all of them are dumb. So I don't even know what to say anymore. I just can't believe how many stupid decisions there are in this episode. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, this episode is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Ugh. Yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts below. What did you think? See you all next week for more torture. Bye.
It's good stuff.